Excuse me. So, welcome to the 2021 VEP Community Updates. We're shifting things around this year, and we'd started planning this fourth quarter last year, and I had this great idea in my head. And like all great ideas, they just sit in our head. Bob, you know what I'm talking about. Uh, and eventually we put them to paper, and that's what Skip and I did finally just this morning. So the new goal with the community updates this year in 2021, and we really want your feedback, is that what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through a year as a VCIO. So every quarter we have mapped out objectives, and we're going to map out what we're going to talk about week by week. And as long as you follow the action plan we have each week that comes out in those emails and we talk about in this community update, you will get through all of your clients and get them into the system by the end of the year. So there's no big go out and assign things to all of your clients, go out and set up all this stuff. There's no big like overhead. And Skip broke me and said, no, Adam, you can't just have everybody do all 4 reports at once on all their clients. It doesn't make, no one will do it. And so what we did was we broke it down to each quarter. We're going to focus on a different aspect of the 4 pillars. And with those aspects of the 4 pillars, you'll focus on delivering a report to your clients. So for instance, first quarter this year is architecture. Second quarter is service. Third quarter is risk. And fourth quarter is strategy. And the reason we mapped it out like that is because in January of this year, there's nothing you need to do with your clients other than how do we eat an elephant? Other than do an architecture audit. Just do your infrastructure audits. Focus on that one thing. You have 3 months to go through your clients. And during these 3 months, we're going to be walking through week by week saying, here's something you can do this week that'll help you get this done. So week 1 is the beginning of January, is the beginning of the calendar fiscal year. Week 2, I'm reading this off over here. Week 2, schedule key stakeholder interviews. While you're doing those, might as well get one of your audits done. A key stakeholder interview, all it is getting a phone call with a client, somebody who works there, who knows how the business works, and just talking through how things are going.
All right. Side note, tangent here. I'll go on a little soapbox. I think key stakeholder interviews are the bomb. I mean, they are this incredibly untapped engagement that you really aren't doing, or you may be doing, but you aren't methodically doing them. And you need to be engaging with people within your client's organization outside of your normal point of contacts. You need to connect with other parts of the business. And these are really, really simple. I mean, these are some of the easiest engagements to do because they require 0 prep time.
Yep.
Okay. There's no report around it. There's nothing you have to do. Just show up on time. All right. And then here's probably, especially for people like me.
You don't have to show up. You can just do a phone call.
Well, yeah, show up to the phone call or the meeting there, whatever. Here's the hardest part for people like me. You have to shut up. All right. So you ask a few key questions, get your client to running, and then you just sit back and listen, and you understand how their business is working. You understand their challenges. And in those conversations, I'm just kind of the anal retentive kind of guy, so I don't like to make total absolutes, but I can pretty much guarantee you're going to uncover new business, new opportunities, things that you need to chase down with this client that could totally transform the way you work for them, or at least provide more revenue for your organization. So just have those conversations. For your smaller guys, you're going to do one a year or so. But for your bigger customers, you need to be thinking ahead. You need to be thinking, hey, I need to be doing 1 of these a quarter, or at least 2 a year, or something like that. And your greatest resource on identifying those key stakeholders is another great engagement exercise. Ask the owner of the company, ask the CEO, the top stakeholder in the organization, ask them and say, hey, can you give me a list of 2 or 3 or 4 people, whatever number is you're looking for? Can you give me a list of people that I'm going to talk to throughout this year so I can better understand what your business needs and how you're utilizing technology? I mean,
Yes.
it's going to really transform your engagement. So,
My
okay,
my
there's
very
a soapbox. Key
my
stakeholder
very first
interviews are
my
awesome.
very first VCIO engagement ever was the central component to it was key stakeholder interviews, and it made all the difference. It is Kid Icarus. Good call. See, some people know it, Skip. And it's got a
Old.
little firework in there. So, um, the that was the key thing too. And I was a one-man shop at the time, but that was the key thing that made things better for me. So during this week, for instance, the focus is you should be scheduling out key stakeholder interviews. Get 3 of them. Put a number to it. And then next week, you can focus on getting some architecture audits. Maybe while you're talking to the stakeholders, ask them some of the questions like, do you guys have PCs there? Ask like if you have anything open on your architecture audit that you need a person to like physically check, use it during your key stakeholder interview. Ask them. And it just becomes a natural segue. And then in February, we're going to continue talking about architecture audits. We're going to talk about how to talk through them if necessary and how to avoid talking through them. We're going to talk about how to integrate the key stakeholder data into these reports. You don't have to, but we have these bite-sized chunks that we're going to do every week. And as long as you assign your team members to this meeting that we have every week, for those of you who have large teams, and for those of you who are one-man shops or just you're running everything, attend these meetings and we'll keep you on task. So you'll be like, oh yeah, this week I need to be doing QBRs with my big clients or with my clients I want to get done. So in March, we will remind you on week 1, you need to schedule out QBRs. Here's what the content of those QBRs need to be. So we're going to be walking with you throughout the entire year. All 12 months are already pre-planned with some wiggle room in there for events. And when issues happen, we have breaks planned throughout here, but you will get through architecture, service, risk, and strategy so that by time November comes around, you're going to have a fully built roadmap ready to prepare your clients for 2022. That's right. We are already thinking about 2022 right now. And so that when you get to November, all this prepping, all this work you're doing right now, these little 15-minute things are going to build to a successful roadmap that will net you more cash through this year, and it'll get you to a successful roadmap for the next 3 years. And this will just kind of become your playbook every year. You're going to run this cadence and it will feel like you're not doing anything until you get to like mid-year and you realize that your revenues are up. You have more projects. The point is it should feel natural. You should feel like you're not doing any extra work. You're just changing how you're presenting to your clients. And now with this roadmap, we're going to talk about every week, you're going to be doing in a deliberate fashion. So
Yeah.
the SMART goal looks like this. If you guys want to know what the SMART goal looks like, I'll put it in chat here. But by the end of the year, you will be doing this. This is the SMART goal we will be following. Specific, all customers audited with 4 pillars. Measurable, at least 90% adherence. So 90% of your customers, 90% adherence. Attainable, hit the HIT portal we have built has everything ready for you to go. You don't need to build anything new. Just use what we have. Do you have the resources to get this done? Maybe 15 hours a quarter. We're averaging for most of you to actually do the actionable items on here. Some of you have a lot of clients, so obviously you're going to need to adjust, but do you have the resources and time to get this done? Yes. When are we going to finish this? In 12 months. And if you start mid-year on this, you just know that you'll be starting with the risk audits. That's where you'll start. Do you want to start with the architecture? Go ahead. It's not a fixed thing, but it is bite-sized chunks that we have designed to help you. Always go where the money is. If an architecture audit is going to get you money, do that. Don't just say, well, I won't have architecture audits till January. No, just go ahead and do one.
Yes.
We're just creating this so that you know that you have at least a playbook to work through that will result in you being in a good spot by the end. So attend these weekly updates, read the emails, and we will always have the action item for this week. And if you follow those action items, you will be done by the end of the year. Period. You will start generating revenue the first set of meetings you have. You won't reach the ultimate, like, perfect area until the end of the year, but that's okay. Perfection is the enemy. Perfection is why you don't start. We're
Yeah.
starting in bite-sized chunks, and we're going to get that elephant done. And by the end of this year, it's going to be so easy. You're going to bring in a new client, you're going to bring in a new employee, and they're just going to know, I have this 52-week playbook I just run through. All the work's been done. I just got to keep maintaining this.
And this falls, directly in line with our scalability proposition. We really, if you can only do this with 5 people and you can't do anything else, then we've built it wrong, right? Because this should scale across as many clients as you want to take on. And I mean, you're obviously going to have to, as your client base grows, your staff will grow, but this will scale up for as much as you want to do following these principles. We get some bigger clients in, we'll tweak those things out. We'll focus in on what we're going to do for smaller clients, whatever else, but the same steps are going to apply. We just got to get these. And you guys, I mean, I think sometimes we give you a hard time, about, hey, go do this. And in some areas you are doing these, but where many of you kind of fall short is you're not doing them consistently. We don't have a reliable process where each one of these is happening on a regular basis. And it becomes a lot of work for you to manage in doing that kind of everything ad hoc. If we make this a standard process, this will get much, much easier for you and your team to execute on in a consistent manner.
Yeah, and we will also remind you of big events that are coming up. For instance, this largely is going to be centered around the calendar budget year. So we're going to say, when it comes up to April, the first week of April, we're going to remind you that in the first week of April, for those of you with schools, you need to start scheduling out your projects for the summer. We're going to alert you to that. For those of you who have educational clients that have the summer off or that 10-week period, you're going to need to make sure that by April, you're going to start creating those workshops. And then the second week of April, you're going to need to start your annual workshops for any fiscal year clients you have. Anybody whose fiscal year starts in June, you need to start doing the big workshops in April so that you are getting on their budget. And that's half the battle, is getting into these people who are more structured their budgets. Your small clients, your B's and your E's and some of your C's, they don't really operate on a structured budget as much as your A's and your B's do. And so we're going to be reminding you of those things happening throughout the year. Why did we select third quarter as the risk quarter? Because by the time you get done with your risk audits, we have this fun new mini NIST audit that Skip is coming up with.
Yep.
Is that you will have your risk stuff done with your clients in third quarter, just in time to have a conversation in September to plan out cybersecurity month in October. So those security awareness trainings and stuff you do every October, they can now get on the project plan. The clients can buy them because you're going to be prepared for them. And so that is how we're going to run these meetings this year. Last year, we were kind of like, whatever the top of mind thing was. We were very adaptive last year because of the pandemic. What should you be doing? What kind of things in the PPP should you be worried about? What stimulus dollars are going to be coming through? This year, it's all about structure. It's all about us doing the work for you so that you can just follow through with the plan and be done by the end of the year. If you've got teammates that are doing this for you, assign them to this meeting so they can hear from us every week what they need to be working on. We've got this covered. If they're in the HIT program, they have all the tools. Now we're going to work on the timing. To that end, Skip and I decided that today was the day that we would give you a little preview. I don't know, Skip, are you still up for this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I'm going to stop recording because I don't want to promise anything or get any documentation out there. This is the way things are.